enough people watch
Maybe
it.
if we're out of focus, it's probably preferable.
Yeah, I can never see myself because I'm looking past the camera shaft.
Well, you're probably better off that way.
Why is it I can't say the word shaft without
You're
like
having a wee giggle.
trying not to make a dick joke? It's very, very difficult.
Shaft.
Shaft.
Rugby,
Can't help it.
which is an Afrikaans thing.
And that's Rian's. Go subscribe. Let's get him to 1 million subscribers, everybody. Sort of almost the unofficial way that we start these podcasts.
We didn't last time. I deliberately avoided it last time
It's hard
because
not
I was
to.
like, okay. But then we were just talking about it before we started recording.
I don't know. Rian works very hard, does a lot of stuff, and he certainly goes viral in this living room.
He does,
This is
which is probably not his preferred place to go viral, but
hey, it's somewhere.
It's better than nothing.
It's a lounge in West Auckland, Rian. All right. Well, we could talk about Rian for the next hour or so, but there was a lot of rugby over the weekend. So should we get straight into it? The MLR. Oh,
I didn't see that coming. I didn't watch any this weekend, sadly.
Oh,
but
no.
the reason I have got the Houston SaberCats jersey on, because they, undefeated, went to play the Seattle Seawolves, also undefeated.
Oh my God!
So it was a clash of the two top teams, and
Someone's O had to go.
someone's had to go.
I can see this quite loud here, so I'm going to bring this down and.
Okay, hopefully.
To hell what may. To hell
Hopefully it's loud
what
enough.
may, is it?
That's a
That's
saying.
a thing. Okay.
But yeah, so the SaberCats, they lost, but I still put their jersey on.
So this is the SaberCats here?
SaberCats.
It's not the Wellington Phoenix?
No, it's not the Wellington
So
Phoenix.
we do talk about fashion quite a lot. We're quite fashion focused podcast.
Definitely.
It really is. We could talk about the mammoth amount of historical rugby in the weekend, but first, this is an ugly ass shirt. I gotta be honest with you. Like,
If you wanted to be spotted in the crowd, you could do worse than
Exactly.
wearing this jersey.
or if you're like a Bumblebee Transformers fan,
Yeah.
that's right on the money. But yeah, she says, "Hello, I'm wearing something here."
Exactly.
And speaking of which, the shirt from last week where we got some cyberbullying.
Oh, yes.
Oh, we did. I don't have the.
We need to get the comments.
Oh, shit balls. Okay, we'll
I read them and there were a few peaches there, but I forgot to put any down
No, I
on my
didn't put
notes.
them down either. We're so unprepared. Oh, shit. We'll do it next week. Okay? Because it's on my phone, and if I take the phone off, then this goes
You
off.
can always use my phone.
Okay, we'll use yours. Okay. We'll do that at the end.
While you're talking later, I'll just check
Yeah,
out
okay,
and start
well-
playing on my phone.
Yeah, right.
That'll be
yeah.
very 2023.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get through a conversation these days without checking on your phone.
Exactly.
Has to be done. Has to be done.
Does.
But before we really get stuck into the MLR, should we talk about that small little Six Nations tournament?
There was some Six Nations on.
Yeah.
It was Sunday for us here in NZ. Early wake up call, 3:15 for the first one.
I'm going to be sad when it's over, but I'm also going to be very happy.
Your sleep schedule will thank you.
Yeah, man, it's brutal.
It is.
It is brutal.
I love it though that it's on in the afternoon over there because we never really get afternoon international
No.
rugby over here. We get the odd like Super Rugby game. Oh, it's played in the afternoon. Bring your
Yeah.
kids, but we never get All Blacks in the afternoon. Not really.
And that's what it was like when I was a kid. Like, the
Yeah.
All Blacks would always play on Sunday Arvo or Saturday Arvo, you know, down in Eden Park with it. Like, I went to that, the Eden Park game, the Bledisloe Cup game in 2020.
Right.
Just we were the only place in the world that was open because
Right.
we kind of flattened the curve and all that.
Yeah.
Gave ourselves a big pat on the back. That was an afternoon game.
Right.
It was so nice to be in the terraces with the sun in your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
It was beautiful. But, you know, they do have that on us. It's a beautiful thing.
It seems like other countries maybe, I guess because New Zealand rugby want the foreign audience to come in. Like they want South Africans viewing, they want Europeans viewing, so they have to play it kind of 7 o'clock at night, which is
Yeah.
early morning over there. Whereas if they played it afternoon, it's just, it'd be
Yeah,
the reverse, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a small audience.
Yeah.
It's
So no one's
yeah.
looking at how do we get the New Zealand audience watching.
I know, and it's like that on YouTube as well. Like for
Right.
how dominant the All Blacks are, like there's not a huge amount of.
10% of my audience is New Zealand based.
I'd say less than that for me.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I'd have to look at this. Yeah, I think it's less than that for me.
Right.
Yeah. The Kiwis hate me. Don't know why. But should we start with that game? The game where
The spoon.
no, not the spoon. Let's
Come on, that was the first game. The
No, we'll go
spoon.
back to the spoon. But I want to start with the Poms and the Frogs.
Oh yeah, that was a big scoreline.
Jesus, I feel foolish. Straight off the bat, I feel like a Wally. I really...
You were
I-
thinking England. France are looking a bit vulnerable. England at home, great Twickenham record.
That's right, and I thought, look, I was like, this Borthwick team's got something about them. I said all the wrong things.
Well, they had something about them.
A fucking shit performance. And I couldn't, it was amazing. There was like a 30-second period at the beginning of the game where they kicked long.
Yeah.
They kind of defended well for a second. The French didn't clear very well. Then they had an attacking threat. They were like took maybe 2 faces up.
Yeah.
And then they left the ball unattended at the back of the scrum, and Fiku went, "Oh, I'll take that."
Yep.
And then it was all pretty much one way traffic from that point on.
Basically, yeah. It didn't take long for the French guys to get on the board, did they?
Oh.
And it was such a weird one because it started piddling down, and the French are just like, we are going to keep offloading.
Yeah.
We do not care.
They looked sensational, didn't they? They are an incredible team. Can I say something that going to sound like an arrogant Kiwi?
Okay.
They reminded me of an All Black team. Just, like where it's just like ruthless.
Yeah.
It's like clinical, like give us in, like just getting your tails up and just being able to run it in from anywhere. But they're better than an All Black team right now. They're better than the current All Black team pretty easily in my eyes. But just having that, been able to pile on points, and then when you see another team that's vulnerable, that's slightly dropping their heads, that you just take,
foot on the throat,
take a massive dump on their head, And the English, to their credit, didn't do themselves any favors at all. What was your response while you were watching it? Were you just in sort of awed disbelief? Or?
Yeah, it was definitely disbelief. Like, surely they can't. Nope, there's another try. Like, a lot of talk prior to this one going on. Like, well, if you play high tempo rugby against this French pack, they're gonna get tired because there's some big units. But no,
they finally pulled it together. And they're still French. The French we either could play these incredible performances in 1 week and then pretty shit the next week. They're doing that now, but they're doing it with an incredibly high level of talent. So when they play badly, they're still able.
They're still playing really well.
They're still playing really well, and they're able to get wins.
Yeah.
But when they pull it all together,
oh my god, look out!
They were playing as close as to their maximum that I've seen, their potential that I've seen them play, and the English were 10-15% off. And it just resulted in this absolute walloping.
That's what I think the English
bare
guys,
bottom spanking. Really.
Yeah, they said it in I think it was Genji's that said it in the post match that basically like they were only whatever percent off, 20% off, but that's all it takes to be to go from being a close game to just an absolute walloping. So
and the English didn't play well.
No.
There
was just so many basic errors. Marcus Smith dropping the ball cold. Alex Dombrand. Like, I remember at one point, England finally got on the board. Like, they got a penalty. Like, okay, let's get this back.
And the crowd were pleading with them to come back into the game.
And then as soon as they got the restart, like, Dombrand carries it up and just immediately gets turned over, penalty conceded. So the 3 points they just got is immediately wiped off.
That's right.
Just
when they finally
no
got
momentum.
When they finally got that try when it was 27-10, where the English crowd was thinking, 17 points.
Right, whatever they said at the halftime break, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like 5 minutes into the half, like, we get another one here, hey, it's all going to be on. But it was like, no.
The French were just ruthless. Like, at one point, Marcus Smith gathers a ball like close to his own goal line. The French guys, I think it's Dupont, like just drives Marcus Smith back to his own goal line, and then Olivon over the top just forces it down. Like so many moments.
All of the contacts were just won by the French. They were just so much more powerful in that contact area and so much more physical over the ball.
Yeah.
And just through power, pressure, and precision, 3 Ps, as I like to say, they were able to just completely dominate. Against the English team, you would have had to say would have gone to that game motivated as all.
Yeah, for sure. They still, they win that game. They're still alive for the championship. They're at home. The French are using their third choice tight head prop. Like, you're thinking, there's a chance. They're in with a chance.
Yeah. Shit. If the French play like that against the way the Irish played, which I thought played bloody well against the Scots this morning, the French look like. The Irish people. Like, I love them, and I think they're incredible. I think they look like a more threatening, more dangerous, more X factor. Like they're not going to get to their maximum level as much as the Irish will. The Irish kind of are operating in around that 90 to 95% range all the time, whereas the French are operating from freaking like 60 to 100. 60 to 100. But if they're both operating at that peak performance level, who's going to stop that team?
That'd be a hell of a game.
Who's going to be able to... That game could happen in a quarterfinal of the World Cup. It could be one of the greatest games of all time, and it could be a quarterfinal. And on the other side of the draw, there could be Argentina and England in a semi-final. So, it's absurd.
World Rugby.
I know. I've been thinking about that a lot this weekend. That having 3 of the top 5 teams in the world in one pool is just absurd. That is going to be such... okay, we'll get to that in a bit. But what did Borthwick's Wings do? And look, it really proved the point that Eddie was really the problem, wasn't he? He really was. He would have... How do you think he's feeling about it? Do you think he's like... Or do you think
he's probably feeling pretty satisfied with himself. I mean...
Or do you think he's got a bit more heart and compassion he's feeling
I'm sure he's feeling sorry for his guys,
yeah.
for sure. I mean, I don't believe he's some callous and just totally checked out. But I mean...
Psychopath.
I don't think he's like that at all. But yeah, he'd be certainly feeling a little bit justified in what he was doing wasn't necessarily, the issues. And I mean, we'll never know now. The whole idea about Eddie getting his team to peak for the World Cup, because that's supposed to be his modus operandi, right? As he keeps his cards close to his chest, we'll never really know.
Where does England go from here? Because for my mind, this is one of those massive moments for a team. This will be either looked at as their rock bottom, or it'll be looked at the moment where the world realise they just were dog shit, and they keep being dog shit. So they've got this massive challenge next week in Ireland. And the way they respond to that is going to tell us so much about this team. If they're able to bounce back, not even win, just put in a really good performance. If they're able to win, my gosh, that's going to turn the world on its head a little bit. But in terms of, this is going to be one of those things we look back on where we say, that was where the kimono was parted, and we realised that, the emperor really wasn't wearing clothes and they really were dog shit the whole time. Or that this is where they really establish themselves and say, never again. That's the base marker in the ground. Sorry, Fozzie. And, they build from there. And they get better and they get better and they get better. But, I don't know. I don't think... Is that the worst ever loss they've had at Twickers?
Oh, I think so. I think they said in the commentary the worst they'd ever conceded with the French a loss was a 25-point loss.
Yeah.
And then they go and lose 53-10.
43 points.
That's amazing.
I felt sorry for Genjay. I don't know. I didn't see him do a hell of a lot of great things. I didn't see any of the English do it.
Everything was pretty... Yeah, it's hard. I mean, even Stewart, who was their biggest attacking threat, when he was getting turned around and missing tackles, it was still... You're looking at him with a critical eye as well and going... Because he gets a lot of praise about, he's the world's best fullback and blah-de-blah. Well... He didn't look like it at the weekend. None of the English guys.
It's bloody hard if you're at the back and you're just getting absolutely...
Yeah, I mean, fullbacks is often... I mean, you look at their tackle numbers and it's if a fullback's having to make that last-ditch tackle, things have probably gone pretty catastrophically wrong anyway.
I thought it was a bit of a sad moment. I don't know the names of the commentators, but boy, they were giving the English grief about it. He said it was 65...
Morris, I think, and It
was at 65 minutes and he said, okay, it was 39... 10 at that stage, and he was like, nothing to play for now, they just have to play for pride.
Yeah. And then they got 2 more tries conceded or whatever. Yeah.
And it just got worse.
I mean, you could tell it was getting bad because the coaching staff are generally pretty good at keeping the whole poker face things going, but Fabien Gaultier and the rest of the French coaches, they were just cracking smiles and handshakes and fist bumps and stuff in the box when Pinot got that second try of his. They couldn't believe what they were seeing either.
I think it's a massive deal to win it. Winning at Twickenham is great. It's one of the greatest coliseums of rugby in the world.
I mean, the French press made a big deal about how this was their kind of, not mission impossible, but it's a big challenge for them going to
100%.
Twickenham. Their record there was pretty bad, so
they
would have been happy with a 3-point win, let alone freaking 43 points.
Did you watch the I couldn't understand it. I don't speak French, but the post-match interview with Fabien Gaultier?
I watched not the immediate post-match on the field, but the post-match press conference with the old Google translated thingies. And,
I watched the one on the field, and he was finding back the tears.
Right.
Yeah, he was very, very emotional, and it's a massive achievement for them in terms of where they were 4 years ago to where they are now, and you compare that to where England were going into their World Cup final, thinking it's theirs for the taking, giving the All Blacks the best beating I can really
in recent memory. Yeah.
Really remember. Though, fair play to the Irish, you got all those beatings. Yeah, they got all those beatings. You bet us those. I still think that English victory was the most dominant victory over the All Blacks I can remember seeing. Going from there to this when you're freaking 7 months out from a World Cup. You know, where you've just got rid of that coach who took you to the mountaintop.
Exactly.
Holy!
Yeah, it's concerning.
Oh, this is...
And also, they don't have... Like, there's still games between here and the World Cup. But in terms of, like, competitive fixtures... Because the rest of them, for the Six Nations guys, apart from next week, it's all, like, Rugby World Cup warm-up games. Like, in terms of, like, genuine test... I mean, they're all test matches, but in terms of, like, this is a meaningful competition, like, this was the penultimate one for them. Right. So...
This is the best dress rehearsal for this is something that means a lot. This is where we have to perform.
Like to stay in the competition. This is a game where you're at home, you need to show up, and man, they not.
And they had the opportunity just to tip them up and like say to the rest of the world, hey, we're here. But I think the rest of the world is saying, oh, we'd like to take them right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many of those French guys just look phenomenal? Dante coming back into the midfield, big old unit. I mean, Dupont was doing his crazy things.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit of a hiding because up until now, Dupont has not been substituted.
Yeah.
They've let him play 80 minutes every game.
And they took him off.
They're like, oh, you can come off. Have a rest, son. 11 minutes.
So freakish. He got like a 50-20 off
his left foot.
Off his left foot. He's madness.
He's unbelievable.
That Pitbull.
Yeah.
He's one of the best halfbacks of all time.
I know. And he's still a relatively young man.
How old is he?
Oh, I think he's like 25 or something.
Oh, piss off.
I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, the French. Oh, I used to like it when they used to have like one amazing performance a decade. This is...
Yeah.
They are scary.
They are scary.
They are really...
It's good as well because, like I said, like with that Irish loss... And a few kind of close games, underwhelming against the Italians. There's a little bit of talk about French. Maybe they picked a wee bit too early.
Well, I was saying that last week.
I mean, last week you picked England, and I just said like, "Well, I'll pick France just to be contrary." I didn't say like, "Wow, I'm definitely sure the French are going to bounce back." I wasn't like full of confidence either.
Well, I just thought that they were looking a yard or two off the pace.
Yeah.
Over the Six Nations tournament, they played pretty poorly against Italy.
Yeah.
You know, they obviously lost to Ireland. How were they against?
They beat the Scots.
They beat the. They weren't.
They were solid.
Wildly convincing against the Scots.
But they were spectacular this game.
They were just 10 out of 10. Stars across the park.
Yeah.
Like stars in their eyes. Oh, I'm getting a Kalen Doris just thinking about it.
Pretty good side.
They are a great side. They are a fantastic side.
53-10.
53-10. Holy crap.
Concerningly, I guess, and maybe encouragingly, depending on which side of the fence you're on, in the under-20s, because they marry up the fixtures to play the under-20s game. Do you watch
any of that?
I've only been following the highlights, but in the under-20s game, because they played the under-20s game with the same teams the day before, the English lost 42-7. So very similar, very similar scoreline. So that French youth are still looking like just as good as the senior boys.
To the core.
And England for that's concerning.
That is concerning. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So
far out. Maro Toje, where was he?
A lot of the English guys were just anonymous in that game, weren't they?
They seem to like... I heard murmurings about them talking about how they thought they had them for fitness or something.
That's been this whole thing. Like you could see them trying to play high tempo rugby, like quick line out throws, trying to run the French guys off their feet, but nope.
It played into the French hands. So quick ball. We can
Old Drake was just everywhere.
Just quite exceptional. And if you're an England fan right now, this is a massive game next week. I think more so than result, it's about performance.
How does it go? Because there seems to be two camps of thought like, wow, if Ireland can beat France and France did that to England, then Ireland are going to run away with this? Or is this a chance like England, their backs against the wall, written off, chance to play spoilers to the Grand Slam?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll love that if they can. And I don't think sports math always works.
Right.
You know, like so-and-so bet so-and-so, so so-and-so will definitely bet so-and-so. It can be a bit of a decent indicator a lot of the time. Yeah. But as they say, styles make fights.
Yeah,
you know, so in terms of the style that they want to play and how the headspace is for both of these teams, whether the Irish go in, I heard Sexton saying today that they're a great side and they'll bounce back from this, so we've got to expect the best English. But that's, of course, you're going to say that in a press conference. Yeah. But then maybe in the back of some of those Irishmen's mind going, shit, we've done the hard yards here. We just got to put the cream on top this weekend, boys, because these guys look woeful. Even if that's just a small thought and it takes a percentage off, each, a few players' performance, and the English go in with a serious fire in their belly from a complete and utter pants down humiliation, That's the stuff that makes sport fucking interesting. True. So it's still going to be a great game to watch. We'll know a lot in the first 20 minutes. Yeah. If the English aren't able to combat, what the Irish do and aren't, because it's always a strong start from the Irish. If their heads are down, if they don't look like their attitudes or their heads in the right space, we're going to know pretty quickly. So she's a bit of a fascinating clash.
What do you do if you're Steve Borthwick? Do you swing the axe on this side, or do you just maintain kind of consistency and give these guys a second crack? Because I remember similar like last year when Ireland came down here, first game against the All Blacks, we gave them a hiding. Yeah. But there was only that kind of one, was it 10, 20 minutes where the All Blacks piled on a bunch of points. But next week, Andy Farrell just was like, nope, same guys. Yeah. I got faith in these guys to bounce back.
Well, I think that's the better way to go about it, because in terms of for the players, that if you're a coach and you say, look, you're in the team because I've got faith in you being a world-class player. That's what I don't care what the press is saying. Sure, it was a bad performance in the weekend, but we can flush the dunny and move on from that. And I'm going to give you a chance to rectify that poor performance. That can be really, incredibly motivating for a player to be able to pay back the faith of the coach, and also be able to establish to the rest of the world that you're not a laughing stock. So I'm no bloody coach. Yeah. As I've told you, I'm desperately unmotivating for most people. I'm unmotivating for myself even. So I think the right course of action is to stay strong with the players that you believed are your best 15.
It'll be a big test for Borthwick because the pressure will be on to make changes. Because the logic is, well, if these guys lost, you need to select other guys. But like we just said, that doesn't always work that way.
But I think that's more of over time, over a few, performances, right? And the best situation is people dropping off over time, and then other people coming up. Yeah, that naturally it just makes sense.
Rather than reactionary.
Yeah. Just like, who will grab that guy? He plays a bit of first five. Let's chuck him in. It's starting. To drop Farrell in the first place, that was a massive call. Hence Genge having the captaincy. You think Farrell made any sort of difference? Oh, no.
None of the English guys made much of an impact, to be honest. Yeah. So it's really hard to...
Desperately disappointing for that English public, and the rest of the world loves it, eh?
Yeah.
Everyone's just like...
yeah. I think probably second only to the All Blacks losing, there's a lot of interest that England getting just hammered.
Yeah. Well, I released a piece this week.
Saw you made another video. I was quite surprised. I was the first person to comment on that video. Just
first, I appreciate it. But I was because I'm writing up this English piece at the moment, and I was kind of due to release that. I was going to either do that one or the English piece, and the English piece would have made zero sense in the context. So I'm glad I didn't. But and I stayed up. Where should we go next? Wales.
We can go Wales. Wales and Italy. That game was on before England got their pants pulled down by the French. 29-17. Wales go into Italy. A lot of pressure on Warren Gatland's boys. They come away with a bonus point win, but there's been a lot of talk about how the Italians were deserving of more in this game. I didn't think they deserved to win it based on what I saw. I thought Wales did enough. I thought they were solid without being spectacular. I don't think it's kind of righted all the wrongs that we've seen from the Welsh side, but it's a step.
It would be wildly frustrating if you're an Italian fan.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see Kieran Crowley's post match?
Oh, yeah.
He was fired up.
I saw him at half-time giving the young Australian bloke...
Damon Murphy.
Yeah, giving him a bit of an earful too, which I think he's going to get in trouble for. But it was really... it would be so frustrating. I've never seen a team make that many line breaks, and then as soon as they made a line break... They were like a 12-year-old boy popping a boner in front of a hot chick, just like, what do I do? He's like, this has never happened before.
Yeah.
Like the just simple fundamentals of like when it's on, draw and pass, If it's not on, take the tackle, get quick phase play, spin it out wide. You're probably going to have a man overlap over that. But they just tried to like the how many freaking tries did they bomb? Well, not even tries, but they just bombed
chances,
so many
right?
great opportunities.
Do you think part of that was the added pressure of they're at home and there is genuine expectations that you guys can go out and get this win, that they were maybe just trying to score now instead of trying to just go through a few phases and kind of
probably, but they should have been able to, because it happened
because they're a young side.
Yeah, they happened a lot in the first half. And I thought, okay, like if they said, okay, if they managed to compose them and say, look, when you do make that break, that's the hard bit. Making those first up breaks, they looked great. Yeah. They manipulated the structured defensive line so well. They should be able to take advantage of an unstructured defensive line. Just with a little bit of composure, and that's the frustrating thing about if you're a fan of Italy, because the skills there, there's obviously a lot of talent there. Composure. Just a touch of experience, just like someone, just a cool head, to be able to get into good positions to score and just convert, get points when you're down that end, rather than just trying to throw the miracle ball or just. Even forwards were doing crazy stuff. Just take the tackle sometimes. It was pretty frustrating. But in terms of Wales, look, they played Warren ball. Like they've been
getting a lot of stick about it. I actually didn't mind it, but a lot of people are giving Wales a bit of.
I find it boring. It's like I was thinking about my tax returns. Like I don't know. Oh, actually, I've got to be completely honest with you. So I was editing this piece this weekend, and I was like, how am I going to do this? Because they take me like 10, 12 hours to edit. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll do it on Saturday night. So I stayed up from like 9 a.m. and I stayed up all the way through to the start of the game.
Wow.
And I hadn't finished the edit, but I was like, okay, I've got to watch the game. Because I thought I have to wake up anyway, and I need to eke out some hours to do this edit. And then I put it on, and I put it on the couch downstairs, and I was lying down on the couch with my head down with my laptop. I didn't even put it on the TV. I just put it on my laptop in front of me. I was like, I'll stay awake. And then
you drifted off?
No, and I heard the anthems. And then I woke up about 12 minutes into the game, and I think the Welsh were 10 up at that stage. So I don't even know what happened in those first 12 minutes. But what happened? What was the first try?
Rhys Webb, the experienced number 9 in his 30s, first start for Wales in donkey's years. He put a speculative weak kick. The Welsh attack, to be honest, didn't look that flash. It was going backwards a wee bit. But Rhys Webb, with his experience, just puts this little dinking ball over in the space between the fullback and the winger, and it just takes the cruelest bounce. Yeah. And Rio Dyer, young man, but does his right job. He's chasing the ball, even though it's a ball that he's like 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 100, he's not going to get it, but the bounce just goes his way.
The crafty old rugby ball. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, because that's what I thought. I thought in terms of the two attacks, like the Italians looked like a better attacking unit. They just lacked composure and maybe a little bit of professionalism.
Maybe. I thought the Welsh kicked well though. Like they played smart rugby.
Yeah, Warren ball. Look, that's great, and
I like it. I like the contrast in styles. I like watching boring sides. I don't know.
Well, maybe. Well, you can cop a lot of flack for that as well in terms of what I'm saying, and just in terms of what I enjoy watching. Right. Like it's like enjoying whether you enjoy new metal or whether you enjoy R&B.
Right.
Like both of those types of music kind of suck. It was a funny old game to watch, and just I could feel the frustration of the Italians coming off the screen, and poor old Kieran Crowley.
Yeah.
It was good to see Wales. It was actually good to see Wales.
He was mostly pissed off about that one try where Brex looked like he had gone over, but the Welsh 10 kind of tackled him from behind. Yeah. And Crowley's argument was there's been a ruck formed, so there's an offside line there. He's tackled him from offside. But Damon Murphy was like, no, but one of the ARs was like, are you sure that's not like a ruck? And Damon Murphy was just not having a bar of it. So
yeah, and then there was a couple of collisions in the air, and the Italian one got penalised.
I thought that Bruno was kind of lucky with the forearm to the throat, where the ref was like, it doesn't touch the throat, and then there's this long pause with the TMO.
And he's
like, Joy, you got any feedback? She's like, it's direct to the throat.
Yeah, it's direct to the throat. Have a look again.
Yeah.
It's direct to the throat. And then he's like...
And then it's like, okay, it's going to be red. And then it's like, is it a push or is it a strike?
Well, and that seems like an unlucky one because the amount of guys who have, there's a big difference between like bang and like kind of running. So many players run with their bumpers up.
Yeah.
It's
just not a good look for the ref to be all over the place. Like first he thinks it's not this, and then he thinks it's that.
I think he was a bit rattled.
Yeah,
I think the
pressure of the situation.
It's huge pressure for these guys at the moment for the refs anyway because this is World Cup space.
Exactly. They need to be performing as well. Yeah, for sure.
100%. And I don't know if any of the refs really cover themselves. Well, who was the ref this morning?
Luke Pearce, I think.
He seemed alright. Ben O'Keefe.
He's been getting a bit of stick in Irish quarters. I don't know what the Irish commentary said, but I feel like I think they thought Hogg should have got yellow carded for something because I noticed a lot of people saying Hogg should have got yellow carded. So I'm assuming there was a line about it. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but anyway,
sometimes when you're not truly invested, in needing a team to win, you kind of let the small stuff float away. That's right.
But
let it float away, guys.
29-17 bonus point win. Couple of yellow cards for the Italians.
Happy for Ken Owens.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
gets a win. Good for Welsh rugby. They needed a win.
They did need a win.
They would have been just the lowest of the low if they got a loss. I think they would have been down to 13th in the world or something. They needed a win.
So they maintained 10 stats?
I think so, yeah. I have to double check the rankings tomorrow. But yeah.
Alright, well that's alright.
Good job, Wales.
Well done. Come to our beat, everybody. Wales forever. But yeah, well, and for Italy though, it's not all lost.
If I can hark back to the under-20s.
Hark away,
sir. Under-20s, the Italians won. They beat Wales 29-25. So the Italian team is on the right trajectory. I think we can see that. They've got a young squad. They're looking better and better. Like you said about experience. I mean, didn't Warren Gatland say, you can't coach experience? And it was some of his guys, like Faletau, Liam Williams.
Yeah, I thought Faletau played well.
All these experienced guys are the ones who kind of stood up. So that Italian side is only going to get more of that. And then if their under-20s are doing well, I think happy days. They're on the right trajectory.
Well done, Wales. We're all very happy for you.
Except Italian fans.
Yeah, they're a little.
And I think every neutral was like they want Italy to win.
Yeah, but in terms of Kieran Crowley's comments when he was like, someone was like, I can tell you seem frustrated. And he was like, so Kiwi about it. I was like, bloody oath I am.
Yeah, very Kiwi.
Sound like Gaza.
He was channeling Gaza.
Yeah. He was like, it was interesting what he was saying. It was like, I'm sick of going through the right channels and being told that...
Oops, we bugged it up.
So stick it up your ass. This is the wrong channel.
I'll be interested to see if he gets into any trouble because...
there's a bunch of South African folks saying, well...
If Russie gets into trouble for it...
Russie makes a freaking hour and a half, 2 hour long video just... hassling the refs and then does a tweeting campaign for weeks on end. I think it's a little bit different than... but I think maybe you should get a slap on the wrist.
You probably should.
I don't think he needs to get a year-long ban or anything like Russie. But yeah.
What's your P's and Q's, Kieran?
Guess not. Well, you're wearing his colours though.
Taranaki?
Yeah. That Naki boy.
Scotland!
I'm going to go another beer.
Okay.
You tell the people what the score was.
Scotland scored 7 points.
Welcome to Rugby, everybody. Hello, folks.
7 points. And Ireland, despite losing half their bloody squad, still managed to score 22. I feel like, Scotland.
Scotland.
If there was a chance...
Ho, we've forgotten something.
What have you forgotten?
The old Tusi GD.
Oh, okay, yes.
You were like, oh shit, what's he done? Scotland, you're in charge. You could get a 2CG this year, Scotland.
If there was a chance to beat Ireland,
that was it.
You've got an early lead. They've lost 5 of their players by half time. You're at home. You've got a star-studded squad. That was maybe the time to get it done. But I mean, the Irish just again show why they're the number 1 team in the world.
100%. And in terms of the challenges that the Irish had, I found that just so impressive.
That's such a storyline, isn't it?
Yeah, the fact that they were able to fight back from such adversity. Van der Fleer was throwing in the freaking line out.
They lose Sheehan really early, so 1 hooker down. They lose Henderson, so one of their kind of key locks, and that's after losing Byrne earlier in the campaign.
They lost Caelan Doris.
They lost Caelan Doris to a moment which I'm assuming the Irish commentary team was pretty pissed off about. And I think Andy Farrell, Johnny Sexton were pretty pissed off about the whole
new ball
situation. Yeah. I'm assuming for that one, because I'm not a laws guy at all, but I'm assuming that one was technically correct.
Yeah, I thought it was...
Because you can't take a quick throw in with the
I don't
wrong
know
ball.
why that was with the bitch. It's one of those rules.
This is what it is. Andy Farrell was basically saying, well, if they threw it in, and they mucked it up, then that's not our fault. But I mean, you just can't throw in the new ball.
You got to play to the rules of the game.
That's just it.
Yeah.
I didn't think that one was controversial. I know it sucks.
Yeah, it's irritating. But,
especially because then Caelan Doris got injured from that incident.
Yeah. Because I was barracking for the Irish.
Right.
I love the Scots, I really do, but I prefer the Ireland is definitely my team in Europe. But so I was like, yeah, you've got one, and then I was like, as soon as they got wiped, I was like,
unlucky.
But I wasn't like, oh, that's absolutely, but like
you weren't like that's unfair.
Yeah, I don't know why they were harping on about that weird one.
It is a weird law, but that's the law.
It is.
You just can't take a quick throw with the different ball.
100%.
So the Scots got out of jail with that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, they lost.
But it was that, and then losing Caelan Doris.
Yeah, they lost Doris, they lost Hendo, then they lost Sheehan, they lost their replacement hooker, and then, like you said, Josh Van der Fleer, World Player of the Year.
He was throwing him pretty damn well.
I think they had one to the back, and it was like, don't do that again.
His first one, they're like, all right.
Let's just go right to the back. Don't do that again.
Exactly.
But no, he threw pretty well. Seemed pretty confident. Then they had Kean Healy come on, and they got a 3-prop scrub. That was glorious. And they won scrub penalties.
Yeah, exactly. They looked like pretty dominant because I heard them saying in the commentary going they might go uncontested here, but. Yeah, having that extra prop in the front row.
It worked wonders.
Yeah, he's an internationally test
maybe that should be a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just get more props. More props. The game needs more props.
That's what we all need.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it was a great game. Like
that first half was my goodness. Well, it was low scoring, but geez, what a half of rugby. Yeah, that's the thing.
Real high quality.
Yeah.
And like that's why it was so impressive that the Irish were able to maintain their composure through all that adversity and fucking good.
Take it up a gear in the second half.
Yeah, but a really good Scottish team.
Yeah.
Like as a Scots fan, you might just revert back to type and go, oh, we can't get it done. Like, this is the problem with Scottish rugby. No, you are playing an exceptional team at the moment. A team that, like, no matter the situation, no matter the context, aren't going to drop their level. They're always going to be operating on a super high level. They're going to be able to take those opportunities, convert them to points every opportunity they get, and they're never going to give you a break, and they're going to have an incredibly hard defense to break.
That's right.
The whole 80 minutes. So, like, and they played well. They played really well. They were really good in the contact. They got great front foot ball. Better front foot ball than I've seen anybody else get against the Irish in the Six Nations. I know I went to custard a little bit in that second half. But they were, playing really, really well. One thing I would like to see the Scots do a little bit more is get Duhan into the game a little bit more.
He doesn't pass. He's such a big man. He needs an offload.
He had a chance. I don't know who he had. He had, was it Finn on his outside or something? Could have put him away. Yeah. He couldn't. He's such a great ball carrier, but he needs to pass. Yeah. He needs such a big unit. Remember Sonny Bill back in the day? Like he would just draw 2 defenders. Yeah. Just that ability to pop that pass. Yeah, and he'd be unstoppable.
If he gets that aspect to his game, I think he's a much better player.
Yeah.
A little bit one-dimensional, I guess.
But what a dimension.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like when he had ball in hand, there were so many times where he had 2 or 3 guys on him, and then he'd make another 6 meters.
He still gets well over the advantage line.
Then I'd be like, how is he still going forward? I would like to see him with more space.
Yeah.
Feel like there's so many times he gets flung out wide, and I'm like, he should be around here somewhere. And I'm like, where is he? I'd like to see him.
He still couldn't stop Mac Hansen from scoring a try, though.
Mac Hansen.
What a finish.
That was the best game I'd seen him play.
It's funny as well, because I went back to watch the first play of the game, and basically from the kickoff, Jack Dempsey, former Aussie player, trucks the ball up and runs straight at his fellow Australian, Mac Hansen, and just puts him on his ass. And I'm like, oh, Mac, it's going to be a hard day at the office, but he
got
came back
all right. He got man of the match.
Yeah, he did. And he didn't swear in this one as well, in his post-match interview.
Well, come on. He looked really, really, really elite in that game. And he got a couple of turnovers.
Won a ball in the air, try assist. Yeah.
Good, great D, great on his feet, great footwork. To be honest with you, I wasn't rating him that highly. Obviously he's a very good player, but I wasn't he's world class. He's a worldie. But he played
pretty well,
he played really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah, they didn't get a bonus point though. So
and they had that was the one thing, they had a couple of opportunities there.
Yeah, they could have probably should have scored 4. I guess if there's a bright side for the Scots, you're the only side who didn't concede 4 against the Irish so far. So
take that, Scotland.
That's a bright side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Irish, just in the first half, in all their games thus far, have just been dominant. So that first half to be as tight as it was, I don't think it's all doom and gloom.
No, I don't. What a fucking stupid pull.
Yeah, I know.
Imagine, like, Ireland go down. Okay, imagine if South Africa don't make the freaking pool stages, or no, get out of the pools. Like, and this is some super high quality players across all 3 of those teams. 3 of the top 5 teams in the world in one pool.
It sucks.
And it sucks. Like, it's so crappy if you're Scott. Like, if the Scots get out, that's a massive achievement. Even just like reaching a quarterfinal doesn't sound like that's such an incredible thing.
But given that pool,
you'd
have to beat 2 of the top 4 teams in the world.
And that means either Ireland or South Africa
go out. There's no good way that pool ends. It's going to be heartbreak.
Yeah, it is. But I know we're bitching about it. But how much interest is there going to be on those early rounds?
Oh, for sure.
Game 1.
I know.
Game 1. All Blacks versus France. As an All Black fan, I'm getting the twinges of Caelan Doris straight off the bat. Like,
Caelan Doris got injured. Apparently he's going to be all right.
He's not gone limp though.
No.
He's okay.
But yeah.
He never goes limp. That man's always hard.
Ringrose was injured. His face looked mangled.
Tadhg Furlong came back and played
65 minutes.
Really well.
He hadn't played rugby for months, and he's just like, to step into a test match against the 5th team in the world. And just look elite.
Yeah, and the 5th team in the world looking really, really
sharp as well.
Why don't Scots ever play well against the All Blacks? I never see them and go, "Oh, you guys are looking
they've
really..."
given us a run the last couple of games.
But I always just think
You still think we're going to win it?
I'm always just feeling like we're playing with our food, when we're playing them, because I feel like they don't believe they're going to win.
Right.
And I'm going to feel that way until they beat us, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, I didn't think that was going to happen."
Yeah.
All Black arrogance, ladies and gents.
It's on display. Living embodiment. All Black arrogance.
I love them.
But Ireland. I mean, it's going to be an interesting one to see what kind of squad they can name, because I think they said that Henderson's out for a wee while.
All right.
He was in a cast after the game, which is not
Doris?
great. And I can't imagine Ringrose. I think they said Doris and the 2 hookers are maybe not as bad, but I can't remember. There was just so many injuries. But
what was Doris's?
Was this his hip, I think?
Yeah.
And Ringrose smashed his head into, was it Kinghorn's hip, and he just went down in a heap. They had to stop the game for like 5 minutes while he went off on a stretcher. He gave the thumbs up, but his face was like covered in a...
I've told you how I watched the game, didn't I?
You watched it in 2 spurts, right?
I watched it in 2 spurts. That's how... Somewhat of my sex life.
You watched the first half.
2 pumps and a squirt. That's what that is.
Yeah, did we break?
Okay. No, yeah, I woke up, I set my alarm for 3, and then I couldn't sleep, and then I got up for a bit.
Right.
And then I was like, oh shit, it's on at 4. So I set my alarm for 4, and then I didn't, and then my alarm went, and my partner was like, don't get up, because she knew I was tired. And I was like, that's good advice. So I didn't get up, and then Madison came, and that's my daughter, by the way. Yeah, she came in and she was like, wake up! And then she jumped in the bed, and I was like, oh. And then I eventually got up at 6 and I watched the first half. And
not spoiled to the result?
Not spoiled the result.
That's
stayed off Twitter. Stayed off Twitter all day, or stayed off all social. And like, to be fair, I could go, not that I don't have Facebook.
Right.
But I stayed off Twitter, and then I watched the other half at lunchtime.
Okay.
And the first half was way better to watch.
Yeah,
like, I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch the second half at lunchtime. And then at lunchtime, I was like, this is one-way traffic. Like, as a neutral, you want it to be...
A bit of a contest.
Yeah, tense all the way up. But it's still
the main storyline was just
quality.
how well Ireland were playing, despite having a flanker throwing in and a hooker, proper hooker.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive stuff. Far out those teams.
Jameson Gibson-Park was sharp when he came on. He might take Murray's spot next week.
He looked pretty good. He threw some fantastic passes.
He did. Yep.
Yeah.
They're looking a good side.
They are looking a good side. How about Bundy Arkey? Is he really the man for 12?
Well, they had Henshaw come on. Henshaw's been out for such a long time. I think Henshaw is going to be in the starting 15 once he's back fully match fit. Yeah. So I think Arkey will probably ride in the pine.
What's their depth like?
They got McCloskey. They got heaps of depth.
Yeah. First 5 depth? now.
First 5 depth has been the one that's a little bit concerning. But, I mean, Ross Byrne got a few minutes off the bench.
I'm going to give you a scenario. Okay, so opening game of the World Cup, who are they playing?
One of the teams in Pool B.
Okay, wherever they're playing, and good answer.
Technically correct. It doesn't add much value. It's what I do.
That could be your epitaph. Here lies Mark, technically correct, but doesn't add much value.
That's what I do.
By the way, that's not me being mean. That's how New Zealanders talk to each other. It's
banter is a thing.
Banter. No. So first breakdown of.
You think Sexton goes down?
Sexton does an Achilles.
Oh shit!
Or pulls a groin.
So basically, they're calling it Dan Carter 2011.
Yeah, he's out. Do they get out of the pool?
Yeah,
they get out of the pool.
Ross Byrne's my man.
Do they get out of? Because the big thing for them is getting past the quarterfinal. Do they get through
without Sexton? That's a bigger question, isn't it?
Do they get past France or South Africa? No, France or New Zealand.
Without Sexton, it seems a lot hairier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a blooming hard task at the best of times.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to, you know, that's still such a hard thing to do.
Even with Sexton, that's a challenge. But geez, without him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd probably back New Zealand.
Yeah.
Arrogant Kiwi number 2.
Yeah, there we are.
Hey.
So if you're Irish, get your rosaries out. Pray that old sex boy
stays fit
for you. Yeah, far out.
Can I lay another under-20s result on you?
Oh, lay it on me hard.
The Irish under-20s against the Scots. Scots scored 7, which is the same as what the seniors scored. But the under-20s slightly outscored the 22 points that Ireland got by scoring 82.
Oh,
82 points. Yeah, Scottish
that's
age group rugby is not in a great place.
You know what the problem is, though? They got too many people born in Scotland playing in the team.
Yeah. When you do look at the Scottish squad, it's one thing that they've got a lot of guys. I know the whole debate about who's kind of a foreigner. Everyone slices that different ways. But a lot of the Scottish guys are trained, like they play in England or whatever, they're youth rugby, because I guess there's a lot more opportunities in England. There's a lot of movement of people. Like most of them have got a blood connection to Scotland.
Yeah.
But
I've got a blood connection to Scotland.
There you go. You didn't play Scottish under-20s. What's wrong with you?
I was waiting for the call up.
Exactly. But I think that's maybe one of the differences is that the youth setup is not that great.
Yeah, well...
Whereas the Irish youth setup is phenomenal.
I think probably one of the things that really helps your younger teams and just your development of any nation is having an incredible top level squad that the 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds see it and go, I want to do that.
That's right.
I want to be that, and they just play rugby with their mates every single day, which is what and that's the formula for New Zealand. Why they've been on top is just because they're worshipped gods in the country, and they're what people aspire to be, and hopefully that doesn't stop, and we can. Get over whatever blip this is. But if you can develop that in any country, in the country that you're in, if this Scottish team can do something great, it'll pay dividends. For sure. It'll pay dividends in a generation.
You get more kids enrolling to play. Yeah, for sure. It's the grassroots where it all comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anything else on that final Scotland? Anything else on Scotland? Ireland?
Just bloody great effort from the Irish. Really, just so impressive. I just can't believe how composed they are all the time. If Italy could get some lessons from them,
Yeah, I mean, that's a great test, like in terms of performing in a situation with adversity. Like
they're getting
Ireland
some really good dress rehearsals for the World Cup.
Exactly right. Yeah, because you'll have injuries in the World Cup. So
what are we getting right now? We're just
Fozzie.
Schmidt said.
I don't know. He's not in.
Nobody asked, but
just in case.
Yeah, just in case you were thinking it, I'm out.
He's not going to be all.
What's Fozzie said now? I haven't.
I don't know.
He's not in.
He's just doing Fozzie things.
But you said you said it like you were about to say something.
No, just Fozzie. Fozzie. We just get Fozzie. That's what we get.
Oh, we got Fozzie. Oh, okay, I thought you were about to say Fozzie's done something.
No, he hasn't done shit.
He's going to be our coach for this year. He doesn't have the most stellar record. But we haven't ever really harped on about it. We don't focus too much on it as New Zealanders. We're actually quite lenient and forgiving.
Quite blasé about it.
Yeah, very, very chill about our rugby. We don't take it seriously at all.
Final round sees Scotland at home to Italy.
Yeah.
Scotland to bounce back.
Scotland get the chocolates.
The spoon for Italy, which is probably going to happen anyway. But I mean, if there was some miracle where Italy got a win away and then Wales got hammered, I guess it's possible that Italy could avoid the spoon. But it's looking pretty likely.
Sad but true.
Do you think both sides continue with the same, or is this a good chance where there's nothing on the line? Do you just change things up, give some other guys a crack?
Yeah, I think so. But I think. Do you think the Scots are confident enough, or do you think they still have a sort of a residual feeling of, oh, we're always generally the second worst in Europe? Let's not screw the pooch here, guys. That they don't have the confidence to play with a bit more, not freedom, but like blooding a few more players.
I hope they do. I hope they give guys like Kinghorn and whatnot a bit of a crack, because they've been in the squad. They've got some time from the bench.
One thing was. Just going back to the Wales-Italy game, would have been great to see Kapawatso in that. Yes. Maybe him on the end of a couple of those moves.
Yeah, Tommy Allen did all right, but certainly just a different player. He's a distributor more than a...
Just that X factor, you know.
Exactly. France home to Wales. So France still in technically with a shout, but they need England to do them a favour.
Yeah, and they absolutely shat on their confidence, so maybe unlikely. So they could have, like, do you think when they were just 30 points up, they were like, all right, guys, we just got to let them feel a little, feel like there's some stuff to work on, so we've got a shot next week, rather than just like taking their souls out of their assholes and showing it to them. France going to win that. Okay,
and then the big one, I guess, just in terms of the slam.
By the way, I got two. I got 2 out of 3. I got 2 out of 3 wrong last week, so.
Take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah, please do.
Ireland home to England, so yeah.
Well, I think all these results kind of pick themselves, don't they?
Yeah. Ireland is just what squad is going to be available and fit, and then England, if they keep things consistent. But how well do these guys back up after getting the hiding?
I'm really interested. Is that the Sunday morning game?
That's the 6 a.m. game. It's the last game. So there's no Monday game. They play them all.
Oh, yes!
They play them all on the Sunday.
Yes!
This last game is literally the best one we've had in terms of New Zealand time zone. 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning is the best. That's the sweet one. Everything else has been, it's either 3:15, it's fucking 5 o'clock, or it's like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it's brutal. And like, the thing that gets me, it's a Monday. And it's so brutal. I work, and like all I've got to look forward to after like the game. I'm used to like watching sport and being like, well,
can chill out for a bit,
have a couple of beers, drink some wine, and then don't have to do anything tomorrow, or catching up with some mates or whatever. Yeah. But this I've got.
Gotta go to work.
I got a meeting in half an hour. Yeah. Like it sucks.
Log on to Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard to like. Just feel happy and like contented with what you're doing when you've got I love what I do. I enjoy my job, but like I want to chill. Yeah. So that's great.
When you're watching rugby at 5 a.m. on a Monday, you don't want to be thinking, "Oh shit."
Well, for you that's a big work day. You've got a lot of live reactions to do, doesn't it? Yeah, that's a few.
My main thing is just trying not to wake up my children.
Well, you say that every time. You say, "Good morning, folks."
Just in case anyone's like, "Oh, your audio's a bit quiet." Come on, keep my fucking voice down because I got children asleep.
Keep my fucking voice down. Yeah. Does anyone ever comment that?
No, because I preface it with, "I'm keeping my voice down deliberately."
I never think to myself, "Oh, he's talking a bit quiet."
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think you go with me in terms of my picks. You got
Ireland, France, and Scotland. I think it's hard to look past any of them. But this Six Nations has been fantastic. So who knows?
It's been great. It has been great. Although, like, I don't know that England game. It stopped being enjoyable. Like I know a lot of people were enjoying it, but as a neutral, I wanted to I wanted to see a great game.
Yeah,
it is fun to watch the English get pumped a little bit, but got to the point where I've got nothing personal against any of these players. Like I am new to watching it again. It's kind of getting re-established with an old person I used to think was an enemy. Right. Like in the mid-90s, I hated them. Yeah. Like I was like the likes of Will Carling and all these guys.
Fuck these guys.
Fuck, they're the most boring pieces of shit ever. Yeah. Like. But now, like, I don't have that seething animosity to them. But I know the rest of the world, a lot of Europe certainly does.
Pretty happy to see them get shit on, basically.
Yeah. I like watching Australia lose, I think. They're my favourite team. My favourite team in the world to see get dogged is the Australian cricket team. And they don't lose very often, but when they do lose, well, I'm happy.
My Aussie mate could not understand that. When 2011 World Cup came around, I came back from overseas just to attend the World Cup pool stages, and I
Yeah.
asked my Aussie mate who had also been working with me overseas.
Yeah.
He's a big rugby fan, big Tars fan. I was like, come man,
yeah.
stay at my place, which was my parents' house at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, come, fucking stay, we'll go to some games,
Yeah.
right? And we went to see Ireland against Australia, Eden Park 2011 World Cup, right?
2011. You're quite old to be at home there.
I was living overseas. I wasn't living in New
okay,
Zealand, so I just stayed with my parents.
How old are we in 2011? What are we now? 28. 28. We're 28.
Okay, so came back for the World Cup, go to the game with him. Ireland win it. I think they were underdogs for that.
And
one.
it was like St. Patrick's Day.
Ireland win it,
Yeah.
and like my mate, because
St. Paddy's Day next week, by the way. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, that's true. I think the
Yeah.
game has been played on St. Paddy's Day. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting played on St. Paddy's
Yeah,
Day.
so a big one. But because
Get
my
into it.
Aussie mate, he's like, we had to sit separately because I'd already bought my tickets, and then he'd bought his tickets last minute, so we had to sit separately. But I met up with him after the game. And he's like, "Why the fuck are you Kiwis all supporting Ireland? Like we're Anzac brothers. Like if New Zealand are playing anyone but the Wallabies, I support the All Blacks. What the fuck's wrong with you Kiwis? Why do you hate us so much?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Because everyone, number one, there's two factors there. Because we love watching the Aussies lose because they've diddled us so many times in so many different sports. Because
Right.
we're very, very similar. We're very similar in the way we compete. We both punch above our weight, but you've just got 30 million people and we got 5. So you're generally better at that, and that's why it feels so good to watch you lose because
Where's the Anzac spirit? We literally went to war together.
Yeah, but it's like it's like when you beat your brother in like donkey or something like
But then
that.
when
You're
your
like,
brother's fighting some neighbour prick, shouldn't you be on your brother's team?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I was like.
You just fucking beat the shit out of your brother.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things that
It's a
it,
weird
like,
thing.
and the second factor is everyone's very affectionate towards the Irish. Like, especially in 2011, the Irish was still not thought of as the world
potential
beaters.
chance. Yeah.
It was like watching Portugal beat Italy. You're like it was like oh, it's an upset, yes, and then when you go for the underdog, that was a weird matchup I picked there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was an underdog. It gave everybody a chance to get out their St. Patrick's Day kit basically and enjoy themselves, get all their green on. Because everyone's got St. Patrick's Day stuff.
Yeah, I went to the game with an Irish scarf and I had a little clover painted on my cheek, so I can't talk. But there was this one guy, this Irish fan, because we took the bus. There was like free buses going to Eden Park.
Yeah.
We took the bus and it was just full of Irish fans. And this one
Actual
guy,
Irish fans?
actual Irish
Oh,
people who had come from all the way in Ireland.
Yeah.
At least I think so, because they had
Was
Irish
he-
accents. They were just giving my mate, who was decked out in Wallabies kit, he was yellower than I am. They were just giving him so much shit. And he's a redhead, so he was pretty fiery. He was like, whew.
Really?
Yeah, he was getting real fucked off.
Did the carpet match the
I
drapes?
can't say I inspected it.
Can we give him a call? Can we FaceTime him and find out?
His name's Gary, so...
Hey, Gary!
Yes,
Gary!
yes.
Gary, show us your pubes!
But,
Did you react to that?
That's the Six Nations.
That's Six Nations. Okay, I'm going to give you an option here.
Okay.
Do you want to cover... do you want to talk about some of the Super Rugby? Because there are a couple of really interesting results here,
Yep.
which I think we should do. But we also have to shoehorn in Cyberbully Monday, which I saw... That's a term from Hierarchy, by the way. There's
The shirt
cyberbullying. So what should we do first? Should we should we go with rugby and then go?
We'll start Super Rugby because there were 6 games on at the weekend. You and I watched the Chiefs take on the Highlanders. We keep watching the Highlanders for some reason. Well, why
We're fans, okay?
Why
We
are we
love watching a
picking-
team lose by 40 points every week.
Yeah, exactly. So the Highlanders lost.
They lost.
It was 28-7.
It was their best performance of the year.
Yeah,
And they still got pumped.
sad but true. So
What's
yeah.
the name of their coach? He's a former All Black.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he looks like every
Clayton
human being,
Well, no.
every male
no.
that ever walked the planet. Nondescript white guy.
Yes.
Is what he looks like.
Gazza still backs him, by the way.
Oh,
Gazza still thinks he's going to get things right.
Hasn't got a great track record, has he? I've got something to admit to you though. You know how we've been telling everybody they have to watch the Drua versus Crusaders?
Yes.
You just like that's the game you got to catch. It's going to be something special.
Yes.
Like in that country, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I had a good reason. I'm a diehard Wars fan. Warriors, the
rugby league.
the rugby league, and the game was on at the same time. and they I don't feel bad because I'm Warriors till I die. Like that's my team. It's 100% my team.
I can't see it, but okay.
And what do you mean you can't see it? Like It's
is this twist up or
no? It's a crackety crack. We're drinking something different today, everybody. In honor of the MLR, we're drinking
patriotic beer.
Patriot APAs by Monteith's, which is a New Zealand brand, but it's okay.
Sounds American.
So yeah, I felt bad about not watching it. I was like, I'll try and catch it, and then I got a spoiler when I was reacting in anger on Twitter. Well, I was reading everyone's angry comments about the not angry comments, actually the Warriors. Do you want a little update on the Warriors?
Go on then. Rugby League.
Warriors were playing the Roosters, and the Roosters are one of the top-rated teams in the NRL. A lot of people have been backing them to, actually win the comp this year.
Who's their best player?
James Tedesco, 5-time Dally M fullback of the year.
Okay.
One of the best players in the world, an absolute freak. The Roosters are the team that RTS used to play for, which they're apparently still trying to court him to come back.
They're based in Sydney.
Yeah, East. And they're a very, very good team.
They wear blue and red.
Yeah, they've got Hectic Cheese. He's pretty good.
Okay.
Brandon. Anyway, we defended stoutly, incredibly throughout that game. We had a huge amount of injuries. It was one of those sort of Brumbies or Blues games like the week before. We were playing in like 32-degree heat.
Right.
We were just absolutely sweltering. They hung out for as long as they bloody well could. They had showed better resilience than they have for like the last 3 years on defense, and they ended up losing by 10 points.
That's the Warriors in a nutshell, folks.
No, that's not the Warriors in a nutshell. It was a really impressive performance. And like when you're actually a diehard fan of a team that doesn't win that much, you just gotta measure the performances. And that's what it's like being a Lions fan.
Okay, so kind of like what we might like to see from England against Ireland.
Yeah,
if they can do a Warriors, they can hang their heads high.
The Warriors should walk off the park feeling good about themselves. I think it was like 22-12.
Hold their heads high. You don't hang your head high. You hang your head in shame.
Try and hang your head high.
That'll be awkward.
Hold your head high. Hang your balls low.
Well, I did watch the Drua game. I watched the
highlights.
I watched it slightly delayed because Gaza has been in hospital, so I went to see him on Saturday.
How inconsiderate of the guy,
I know.
Jeez.
He's got problems with his heart.
Poor
but
old
apparently
Gaz.
he just needs a pacemaker, which he got today. So he's had a minor procedure to put in a pacemaker. He sent me a photo with himself smiling. But I went to see him on Saturday to check in on him.
There's literally no chance you're watching like 15...
Because this is too far through the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have opened.
We should have opened with it so he could have at least seen it. Because every time he watches it, he goes, I can't get through it. It's too long. But, yeah, he's got his pacemaker. So we came back from the hospital.
Yeah.
And I knew the game had started. And I just flicked open one of the New Zealand news sites. And I saw something like, Crusaders reduce deficit. And I was like, oh, fuck, what?
Well, yeah.
The draw in front. So I booted the game up on delay and just watched it. Slightly delayed. I was probably like half an hour.
And the draw started well. The draw. Sorry, the Crusaders.
They were doing Crusaders. They were getting more tries and just looking like this is what they're going to do. The Crusaders
taking the crowd out of it.
Admittedly picked a kind of B side. They rested some of the guys like Moonga wasn't playing and David Hunt really got injured. Yeah, they still played some of their All Blacks, but. Yeah, they.
If I was a player, that's the game I want to play. That's
for sure. The crowd was amazing.
Was it when there was like a breakaway? Like you could see, it was like watching a mosh pit.
Yeah.
It was like boom, 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 boom.
It's unbelievable.
The trees were shaking.
I know.
We
should just play more games in Fiji.
6. There's 6 games this year.
That's
Have we got a Blues game there this year?
Don't know. I just know we've got the Crusaders next,
Yeah.
which I feel like is not a good time to be playing the Crusaders after they've come off a second loss of 3 games into the season. But. Yeah, it was a great game. The crowd is just phenomenal.
And what a result.
They won at
what
the death.
A result.
The Crusaders did the Crusaders thing, and that they'd come back from seemingly dead and buried last 10 minutes. They're down by whatever it was, 10 points.
2 tries.
They get 2 tries. It's like, fucking Crusaders. They just keep doing it. But then they conceded a penalty right at the death. And this guy on his debut, Valtini, just fucking kicks a penalty. It's right out in front.
He missed a sitter earlier in the game.
Well, I think it was
the other guy?
Teddy Teller. Yeah. So he'd been replaced, thank God. So,
and what a result. A huge result. If you're a guy in the crowd, you're going to remember that day for a long time.
And your kids are bored. He's like, I don't care. My dad would always tell me the stories about this fucking player was great back in the day, and I'll be watching this footage. I'm like, it's grainy as shit. I can't see anything.
But that's a distracted video, a distracted top 10 list.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
Describing there.
Yeah, but I'm going to be having those conversations with my son. I'm like, Christian Cullen's pretty good, son. He's going, I don't care, Dad.
And you look at the Christian Cullen footage and it
still looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's a little bit grainy.
It is a bit grainy. Not HD.
But yeah, a fantastic result. And Crusaders, 2-1.
Yeah, I know.
2-1.
Well, 1 and 2.
Yeah. Is that how you start with the win? You
start with the wins, then go to the losses.
And the Blues got a win.
The Blues are the only side to get an away win.
That was a grind as well.
The second half we just can't score any points. We got 3 points.
I got some seriously squeaky butt.
It's funny because someone put
6 points behind. 6 points. Obviously, it's a converted try, but it felt very.
Somebody put a comment on one of the videos at halftime during a Hurricanes fan put a comment on saying, "Oh, I'm fucking watching this Blues game. You guys are giving us a hiding," and I was like, "Well, there's plenty of chance for the Blues to stuff this up." And they almost did it.
Yeah, that's right. I was so nervous towards the end. I was like, "Oh, it's inevitable that the Canes are gonna score here."
Yeah.
So every time they were in our 22 at the end, and whenever they were attacking towards the centre of the ground near the sticks, I was like, "Just push them wide, make the kick tough."
Yeah.
But yeah, we managed to hold them out, which was huge. Hoskins Tutu played very, very well. Finlay,
sometimes so well that he would get isolated because he was just so far ahead of everybody.
Finlay Christensen, they seemed like there was a lot of turnovers in that game, a lot of jackling and all that sort of thing. So. Dalton Popperley wasn't looking particularly
Sam Kane's looking the better 7.
Sam Kane is looking like the better 7 right now. Second best. Dalton Popperley, hopefully he gets his game together.
But one of those Hurricanes tries was a bit dodgy, man.
Oh, that was a drop.
How was that?
Yeah, that was a crazy. And I'm not go look at the footage yourself. To see what you think. Make your mind up yourself. We're obviously a couple of Blues fans here.
That's right.
Because as soon as it looked like there was separation. I think there was a tweet with a freeze frame going. I think the Blues actually.
The Blues, social media people things that can fit between the hand and the ball, and it was like Pacific Ocean.
Kalen Doris's massive cock.
The Rebels had a win. The Hurricanes.
Who did they beat?
The Waratahs, actually.
Oh,
we watched the first half of that.
That's right, we did.
Yeah, Waratahs blew a couple of tries, and the Rebels just looked slack.
Yeah,
Reece Hodge.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Because we've been watching some league. After the first game.
Because I'm always like, league is a quality game. You've got to watch it. And then we watched this pretty dire...
Because we watched the Chiefs and Highlanders. We were like, okay, that was fine. And then we flicked it over to some league. And it was just like, phenomenal try.
Parramatta and... if you don't watch the NRL, but you just like skills and you like high-level shit...
Highlights package of that.
It's
worth your time.
So good. The NRL is so good. You were like, and Mark actually said to me, he was like, it's not like this all the time.
Yeah.
It's like their finishes are great. They've got some incredible athletes.
It's
a bigger game. It's a much bigger game.
Then we watched the Rebels we watched the first half Rebels and Waratahs.
In Australia is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a bigger game.
Then we flicked over from that game to Rebels Waratahs. There's nobody in the crowd.
Yeah.
But the skills were there. There's some skills on display in that first half anyway.
Yeah, the game that we actually reacted to was a bit of a dirge.
It was okay. Yeah. I'm
not apart from Kane, it's interesting when you watch
Shooter.
He doesn't looking good. We've got to find space for him.
Yeah. The Brumbies are still undefeated, 23-17 over the Reds. Yeah. And the Force, they only led for the end of the game. They beat Moana Pacifica with literally the last kick of the game.
Yeah.
They were dead and buried. But
so Moana are 3 losses now?
Yeah. They are winless.
Bugger.
So, sad days for Moana, but they'll get there. Them and the Highlanders. One of them's going to get a win at some point.
All right. Should we get some cyberbullying going then?
Cyberbullying about Tony's shirt from last week.
There were some good things out there. By the way, if anyone was reading the comments from last week, I was like, why are they being so mean to Tony? We encouraged it. We like it. It's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Either good-hearted banter or just
me and that guy.
Just be a prick. It's fine.
It's all right. Me and that guy Petros in your live chat.
That was great.
We were going back and forth. It was great. We were both loving it. It was all good.
Exactly. Seamus says, fair play, Tony. Normally when someone vomits on my shirt, I stop what I'm doing, take it off, and have a shower. Great dedication to rugby journalism.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, buddy.
How often is someone vomiting on your shirt that you've got a regular routine for this?
Yeah, maybe you should be asking yourself that you've got a system in place for this sort of thing, but... No, I appreciate that's a good burn.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think it was there was a few other ones. There was a lot actually. What else you got there?
For some reason, all of these are just actual comments. None of these are burns. Where are all the burns? Tony looks like the kind of guy who roofies himself and takes what he can get and is wearing a tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You've seen me on a Saturday night.
Okay. I had surgery.
What was that person's name?
Oh, sorry. That was from Jay.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
Mark Dunphy said, I had surgery, saw Tony's shirt and was convinced I was hallucinating. Asked my nurse if the shirt was real and she confirmed it was so.
Okay, Mark. That's a joke. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. I think it was one of the later comments. Yvonne, there was a lot more.
Yeah, that one was a real burn.
She was pretty ruthless. She looks like a nice lady.
She does. The picture does not match the. She looks like
Susan,
the burn.
like a younger Susan Devoyne, and she basically said, "I think your shirt is a bloody tampon." Or something
like that. Yeah. Of all the shirts you can wear, that's certainly one of them. From Mike Roberts. That's a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic. Regarding the shirt from Nolan, maybe Tony should wear it to bed. I mean, it's loud enough to wake him up to start watching the Six Nations games live.
Some good dad jokes in here.
Yeah.
That's a dad joke. Thank you for that.
Someone asked for a link to the Spotify version of this podcast. We are a podcast, by the way.
We forgot to mention at the start. Available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, give them one.
Google Podcast, that's my go-to.
Stitcher.
Why do I use Google Podcasts?
I don't know, man. I don't use that. I'm a Spotify kind of guy.
Someone says, are these pint glasses? They look suspiciously small. Well,
you keep going on about it. I think they're the glasses from the pod.
This fits a 330ml bottle of beer, basically.
Which it's just your regular stubby, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. Nice shirt. Do they make it for men?
Yeah. That's my...
That's from the Irish Yoshi. Here's Yvonne's one. You're supposed to throw away your used sanitary towels, not wear them. That's a classic. I like that one.
Oh, you filthy lady.
Yeah.
Like it. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you for those, that little bit of cyberbullying. If anyone wants to make any comments about this yellow rugby jersey, it doesn't to me look like a rugby jersey. It looks like a football jersey. Sabercats. Houston. Far out. Where do they play? What's the name of the stadium?
I think it's this thing. The AV.
And you got this printed as well.
Yeah.
How much does the hat?
AliExpress. I think it's like $4 American or something.
To get the hat printed.
Sent from China. Yeah.
Damn, son. That's not a bad little...
Well, I've got a big
head.
So I sometimes get a hat and I'm like, that doesn't fit.
So you send the hat to them? Or
No. You can pick the colour scheme. So this one would have been yellow and black. And you just send them the logo and they print it on.
All right. You got a lot of those. How many times when you actually come across a rugby hat are you like, gotta buy it? Or like, it depends on the price.
Occasionally, I'll just try it on. And if it fits my big old head, I will consider it.
And it's under $10.
I'll pay more than $10.
Oh, hey, big spender. Yeah, look. Yeah. But anyway, I think we've talked about some rugby.
We did talk about some rugby, some cyberbullying.
We were fashion focused at times too.
Next time we should prepare that a bit earlier.
We totally forgot about it.
We got everything else. Tony had the light ready. He had
exactly.
The background. He's got the laptop charging. Of all the fuck ups, none of them fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. All the things that usually fuck up.
I had my notes all ready with the results.
I watched all the games.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not always.
I even had a nap before I came here because I got up at 4 a.m. to watch the game this morning. I wanted to be kind of fresh.
What goes to show is no matter how much you prepare, you're still going to fuck it up.
Basically.
So don't prepare.
Yeah.
Don't prepare. All right, well done. Congratulations. It's another podcast.
One more week of the Six Nations.
One more week of the Six Nations, and
then we finish off the URC season. Super Rugby goes on.
What dribble are we going to talk about once Six Nations is there? But we'll talk about. We'll find stuff to talk about. If you just like us talking shit, then keep watching. All right. Anyway, Haidida, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it.
Take care, folks.